I know that it's way too early for this, but these Monte Carlo Masters have reignited my love towards clay court tennis, so whilst Madrid and Rome haven't ruined that fun for me, I decided to make this video, where I will present my top 7 of matches that I look forward to the most for the French Open. Most of them are on the ATP side, but I did sprinkle in a WTA match in there as well. But starting off this list is a match that I purely want to see for shit and giggles, cause honestly I'm not even sure that one of the mentioned guys will even play in Paris. Can you guess what match I'm talking about? Of course, it's Nick Kyrgios versus Jannik Sinner. Do I think that Kyrgios even has a chance? Absolutely not. Do I think that the quality of the match will be good? Also, absolutely not. But this is a definition of a match where I'm just here for the handshake. After all the one-sided talk, I want to see their interaction when they'll need to meet each other face to face. Yes, that's the only reason why I want to see this match happen. But as I said, this is a more of a silly goofy match that I want to see, unlike the next match on this list, which is Carlos Alcaraz versus Alexander Zverev. It is a rematch from last year's final, so that is why it is not much higher on this list, but still they do have a bit of a rivalry in terms of their overall head-to-head record and their head-to-head record at the French Open. In 2022 quarterfinal, Sasha Zverev was victorious, and as we all remember, Carlos beat Zverev in a very eventful final last year. That close call on Alcaraz's second serve that was within the margin of error of the Hawkeye system, and that legendary clip where Carlitos hit a net court in the 5th set will live in tennis fans' memories forever. So there is a reason to believe that these two guys can deliver a very entertaining match. Yes, Zverev has been in a slump since the Australian Open, but he still has almost 2 months to regain his confidence and form. And Alcaraz hasn't been the Alcaraz of old, to be honest, but I'm still not worried about that aspect of this matchup. I'm sure that they will gain their best form for the biggest tournament on clay courts. Next up is an entry purely for the nostalgia merchants, cause I want to see Novak Djokovic and Gael Monfils play against each other at the French Open. Gael Monfils is playing great this season. Literally, he hasn't had a single below average performance in 2025, apart from that one match against his kryptonite Novak Djokovic in Adelaide. The veterans have played 20 matches against each other, and all of them ended with the same result: a win for the Serbian. And listen, I enjoy that thing that Shelton said about players become each other's daddy if they win 3 matches in a row in their head-to-head encounters, but this one is too ridiculous. Novak Djokovic hasn't been good this year. You can choose to be fooled by his Miami Open run, but I'm not falling for that. The man is vulnerable, he's beatable, he's not that scary anymore, which is exactly why I think that this is the best chance for Gael to break this streak. Just imagine the atmosphere on court Philippe Chatrier if these two legends of the sport actually get to play each other, and imagine Gael wins it. That would be so much fun. For the next one, I want to rekindle a rivalry between the players whose careers have been on a similar path as of late. It's Stefanos Tsitsipas versus Daniil Medvedev. Obviously, Steph has an edge on Daniil on clay courts, as Tsitsipas is a multiple-time clay masters champion and the French Open finalist. But Steph hasn't been looking that great, and Daniil is kinda becoming a clay court grinder type of player, as all of his power in his game has vanished in the last year or so. Apparently they are cordial with each other nowadays after not being the best of friends for years, but that he doesn't know how to fight clip will forever live in infamy of tennis history, and there is no better way to revive that dislike between them than them playing an important Grand Slam match against each other, cause we need those grudge matches in tennis, as there are not that many of those types of matches nowadays. And you might disagree with what I'm about to say, but I think that sports need competitive dislike between the competitors to make the occasion feel much more important. Now is the time for the WTA entry, cause I want to see the next chapter of the rivalry between Iga Swiatek and Alyona Ostapenko happen on the courts in Paris. I mean, the premise is simple. Ostapenko owns Swiatek 5-love in their head-to-head, and Swiatek owns everybody at the French Open, so if this encounter actually happens, it will be a good old-fashioned unstoppable force meets immovable object matchup. And to be honest, this is a kind of a win-win situation for Ostapenko. If she beats Iga on clay, Swiatek might as well just retire, cause being owned this badly in a head-to-head as an all-time great is kinda crazy. But if Iga wins, the reaction would be, Oh, she should have done that, and as a Latvian, therefore a supporter of Ostapenko, this is a great dream scenario where basically, no matter the result, fun will be had. You know, I'm double dipping cause Gael Monfils will be involved in another match on my French Open wishlist, and that match is Gael Monfils versus Holger Rune. I mean, by now you should have known that Holger will be involved in this type of video on my channel, but I genuinely think that this match would be an incredible spectacle for every single tennis fan. First of all, the whole tennis world would be behind Gael in this one. The fans in the stadium would go nuts for the French legend. They would be annoying, they would be disruptive, they would create an atmosphere where special things could happen. And as we all know, Holger Rune is one of those players who is great to watch when the crowd is against him. In simple terms, Rune is a good villain. He's not afraid to go against the crowd, he doesn't get bothered by the noise as much as other players do, and Holger is always at his best when the crowds are not neutral, and it doesn't really matter whether they are for him or, as in this case, against him. It would be an interesting clash of generations and possibly the most fun early round matchup during this year's French Open. And finally, the match that I would like to see the most during the second Grand Slam tournament of 2025 is Artur Fils versus Joao Fonseca. Everybody has been talking about how great Joao is, how huge of a support group he has all around the world, but if he steps on the court in Paris against the Frenchman, I'm sure that he will have no choice but to taste his own medicine. And there is no better Frenchman to go against than the super talented 20-year-old Artur Fils. The combined talent on the court that we would see would be immeasurable. There is a genuine argument to be made that Fils is the top 3 clay court player in the world right now already, and Fonseca is just crazy good, and most importantly for this type of video, he's also unbelievably electric for his age. Both of the guys are showmans, both of them are incredible tennis players, which is why this is my most anticipated matchup for the 2025 edition of the French Open. What matches would you like to see in Paris this year? Let me know in the comment section down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, take it easy, my friend.